next question here is, can you speak on how we are bound by one human nature and how the prayers for the dead and to the living saints and our community brings us to Christ?
Say the first part again.
That we're all bound by one human nature.
Oh, so, well, we are. But then what you're asking is how does that translate to things like praying?
Prayers for the dead, also praying to the living saints that are in heaven, and also just our community. So like people praying for us at our parish. Like I have a testimony where like people I found out later were praying for me using the inexhaustible cup. It wasn't just me praying in front of the inexhaustible cup. And I count their prayers that actually helped me as well. And so like there's that aspect, but there's also the saints in heaven that I think are interceding for us. But also there's like a lot of stories or events from the lives of the saints where people actually like some of our saints had visions of people being rescued from hell by their prayers. Like, and I feel like that has to have something to do with us all being bound together. Like we're not really just saving. I think in the West, we think of ourselves as individuals and we don't think of ourselves as a community. Yeah.
I honestly, so Metropolitan John Zazoulis, of whom I really enjoy his theology and his writings. So we're talking about me being an orthobro. I was very heavily reading John Zazoulis, for example, and Christos Ioannidis, some of these Greek theologians, and his whole understanding of the human person is that the human person is only a person in community.
Right.
And it made me think about the fact that, you know, you're talking about prayers, you're talking in terms of human nature. Well, human nature ultimately is one nature, right? And therefore, that's why each of us has value, because we share that nature. Now, that doesn't exclude an individual instantiation, individualization of that nature in each of us. And but God does recognize that, you know, the hairs on your head are numbered, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I will say that I was thinking about the fact that in the church, we come together to be a true person because a true person is in communion with other people. That makes them true. So our communion with others not only makes us true, but makes them authentically true. And so they fulfill their own human nature with us and us with them. Otherwise, there is no fulfillment ultimately of what human nature is supposed to be. And so when we separate from that body of believers, let's put it that way, from the church, from the ecclesia of God, when we separate from that, that's when we become an individual, and that's basically we are doomed to destruction, our own self-destruction, because an individual is not an authentic person, and that individual cannot survive. And so I don't know how else to, if I'm making this sense. So our communion with the dead, with the saints in heaven, are all part and parcel of the same thing. Because when we come into the church, it's everybody is there, not just. So if we're at the throne of God and the angels are there, well, obviously the saints are there, because the saints are where the angels are, right? So that is the true communion of human persons who authenticate each other by being in communion with each other.
Amen. I like that a lot. That we're not a real person unless we're in communion of love.
Oh, yeah, we're not. No way.
This next